the last training session before grand final. It was intended to be a very relaxed session, and the girls were all very calm. They were all relaxed. We ended up having a bit of fun on that day, that night actually. Just playing some casual games like kick tennis and stuff like that. Just keeping it nice and laid back. All of the work was done. There was no point in drilling them into the ground, right to the final moment. There was nothing that we could possibly add to the team at that point. So it just made sense to just pull right back and just have a really easygoing session. And there was a really good vibe around the team. They were ready. And I believed that they could do it. Grand final day itself, it's all kind of a blur now. But I do remember we all got there about an hour and a half. It was about half an hour just to ease into the day. We wanted to do our 1 hour warm-up. The girls didn't even wait for me to start warming up. They were ready to go. They were already warming up.
How were you feeling when you ran out?
What, jelly legs?
Yeah. I just didn't know what to expect because we hadn't versed them in since the start of the season. Just very, very nervous.
The warm-up went absolutely perfectly. Everyone was focused. You could tell they were nervous. I actually came up with an idea to deal with the nerves on the day. I think I'd seen it from an NRL team. It was either the Tigers or the Sharks or someone like that. I'd read it somewhere. The idea of having someone around the team tell a joke to the team just before going out onto the field.
Everyone laughs and it gets rid of all your nervous energy. I remember picking Alicia to come up with a joke. I think the week leading up to it, I said, "Yeah, come up with a good joke."
I ended up setting up Alicia to come up with a joke, and on the day she had nothing. But Belle came to the rescue.
It was Belle, yeah.
Because I come up to Alicia on the day, she's like, "No, I've got nothing."
I got nothing, and then I was like, "I got one," and then started picking on your bald head.
What's shiny like Cole's floorboards?
Makes sense.
Makes sense.
Oh, yeah, good on you, Belle. That'll do. All of you have a laugh, right? Let's get this job done.
I remember the final moments coming into the grand final just before it actually started. There was a certain sense of time slowing down, but at the same time, it also felt kind of chaotic. There was a weird feeling. It was standing out there in the middle of the ground while the national anthem was playing. All of these last minute thoughts coming into my head, about the final address to the team. After the national anthem played, I still actually hadn't assigned finally all of the team roles, the playing positions. The first time we played Camden, we went for a bit more of a defensive game. I remember bringing Sienna, who I had actually played in fullback for a number of those games, into the on-ball position. I brought Olivia from full forward into the on-ball position. I moved Alicia from half forward line into full forward. Obviously with her finger, just to try and give her that extra little bit of protection. And I think Lauren, from memory, went from the on-ball position into the half-forward line, so it was a slightly different formation that we're hoping to surprise Camden with.
I just felt like we could beat them because we beat them before.
Once the team all got there, I think it was more like I wasn't believing it was the actual grand final. I was like, oh, it's just another game, until once that final bell rang and I was like, oh, wait, we've won.
I feel like everyone was nervous in a way.
Yep.
It's a grand final. It's not just a normal game, but didn't really hit any of us until we got in the field, and then it started getting the actual grand final. You've seen all the refs. Usually there's 2 refs, and then you got 5 or 6. I don't remember how many refs we had. And then did we do the national anthem? I'm pretty sure we did the national anthem.
Yeah.
And then it was just oh, what the hell? And then it was oh, this is pretty big.
Even though it wasn't my team, I was still a part of it, and I still wanted to do well as well. Do you know what I mean? Like it was sort of like my grand final as well, if that makes sense.
No,
I don't know, I just kind of
really.
forget everything and then just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was significant because Ariana, our captain, it was her 50th game. So having 50th game on final day, as a team, I guess we all wanted to help her win it because it's a big thing, reaching a significant mark like 50, and then making it even better by being on the grand final game. It just make it more special for her and the team getting to celebrate that.
Yeah, it seems so professional.
Yes.
Yeah. Done something like that
Like,
before.
this game means something.
This game means something. Of course it does.
Yeah.
Phoebe, what do you remember about running out on the field?
I actually don't remember a lot, except I do remember saying to myself, like, this is the time to get aggressive in the back line. That's all I really remember, is like, this is the time to really like bring out my anger.
Yep, for sure. Alicia, what do you remember about when you were running out on the field?
I don't remember much. I was just like, you gotta get serious now. Like, don't want to lose this. Like, out of all games to lose, this is not the one to lose. Or to stuff up or do something bad or something. That's when everyone was just like, I feel like the second the ball goes up and the play starts, like all your nerves drop and you just want to play. Like you just want to get the ball in your hands or tackle someone or get involved.
Exactly what Alicia said. Like before the whistle went off and stuff like that, like the field was dead silent. Like you could hear like anything drop. But once that ball went up, like all your nerves just washed away and you were just there to play then and there. You weren't worrying about the consequences or whatever. So
I knew a few of like the Camden players from like representative levels and like playing them before as well. You just knew who to look out for and like how they played already. So it was kind of a bit of an advantage.
Yep.
But like, I don't know, just try and play the game, I guess.
That's it. What about you, Liv?
Oh, I remember talking to Ariana and she was telling me like who I needed to look out for, like who were the good ones, and I just couldn't like picture them. I couldn't remember them, so I was like, I had no idea who everyone was, but I could easily like once the game started, I realized like Jasmine and like the other girls. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like I kind of just watched like the first couple of minutes because I was like just slowly getting into it. But then like after that, I think I got like something happened in a tackle and I just forgot about everything, forgot about all the nerves, and just
Yeah, you unleashed. Like, stay on the blue boots, and he was just yelling that the whole time.
I could always hear that. I was like,
Yeah, the game itself got off to the kind of start that I thought it was going to get off to. There's a certain sense of both teams trying to suss each other out, feel each other out. A little bit of early defensive pressure, which I anticipated. Camden ended up scoring that first goal, which really wasn't an issue. If anything, it might have been a good thing for us. It would have shaken those last minute nerves out of the system and switched the girls on and told them, okay, this is it. The game has commenced, they've got the first goal, let's see how we respond.
part of me was actually relieved that they scored the first goal, because I think that for that first goal, that was like the oh shit for our team, like we've got to get this up kind of thing. It definitely put me in my place. I was like, yeah, okay, I've really got to bring out the best. But you could just see the whole team just go, okay, we really got to bring us together, kind of do it as a team. It wasn't like a one-person game.
I think it like really put me back into my senses, like, oh, now I'm ready to play. Like, we can do this.
And I remember the play went down the other end. Lauren took a mark close to the forward 50 arc from memory. She sent the ball in, and Alicia, who, as I'd said before, didn't think she was going to get into that grand final, she ended up taking a mark dead in front.
The first goal from us was actually scored by Alicia. It was, I'm trying to remember that I watched the video earlier. I think Lauren...
That one was the mark, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was Mark. Yeah, I remember Lauren got a mark. There might have been.
She went to kick it to, I think it was Bell or someone in front of me, but it went too far and no one was on me, so I just got a free mark.
Bang! Yeah, you got it. We've got 10 minutes to go. So you got that. You got that mark. How are you feeling at that point? Was there?
Oh, you get so nervous, like you start shaking, and I'm like, oh my god, what if I miss this?
So much pressure.
Yeah, and then you got all the parents, get the goal scored, go! I was like, oh my god, oh god.
Yeah, but you actually didn't waste
You
that
want me
much
to score
time.
it? Everyone just jumps up and it's like, oh, I scored that.
Maybe. No, honestly, it was awesome, especially after the issues you had coming into the game. You weren't going to get in the game, and you got the first goal and got us on the board. But, yeah, I thought that was, it was certainly justified.
I remember the second goal was kicked by Bridget, once again from a set shot. And, that was another great moment. She'd been a great player for the team throughout the year.
Someone kicked it to me and I kicked it in the goals.
Really doing the most, Bridget.
Very good, Bridget. I'm very impressed.
I took a mark and I didn't.
Did you feel?
Screw this up. I'm going to kick myself in the face.
Did you feel any nerves when you took your mark at all?
Yes, because I'm very bad at set shots.
One of those players that just gets on with the job.
I remember Alicia almost got another one as well. She was in the clear, kicked one along the ground, and I remember watching the video. And the crowd goes silent, and you just hear this dunk, and you hear the crowd go, oh.
But I got so scared because everyone was cheering, so I thought there was someone on my back. So I just kicked it and it hit the post. I was so mad.
I still didn't think my set shot was like as good as I don't know, as it was supposed to be.
Yeah, yep. Well, it got the goal. I think you got the another goal after that as well, from memory.
Like on the first out, sorry, I kicked it off the ground.
Right off the siren, exactly.
So we went into the quarter-time break in the lead. I think it was something like 20 points to 7 from memory, somewhere around there, which was quite a great start for a game like that. In a game and a team that had never played a grand final before. But there's also, it's a bit of a double-edged sword having a lead as well, because you can see the other team coming, and if you see the other team coming, you can actually start getting a little bit anxious, a little bit nervous, and worrying about holding on to the lead. So at each break, I instructed the team they were looking at the scoreboard. I just instructed them to pretend like the score was 0-0 again. You're starting from scratch.
And you never know what they're going to pull out the next quarter as well. Like, you always have to be on your game as well. Like, don't act like it's a loss or a win yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, that's it.
A lot of the captains kept turning and said, don't look at the score, just think we're losing, but we weren't really. I think we all knew we weren't losing, but everybody kept constantly saying, we're losing, try your best, we're losing.
As the game progressed, we got to half-time and we switched tactics a little bit. I pushed Sienna back into the fullback just to add that extra little bit of protection there with an experienced player in fullback. It wasn't a sign that we were going to a purely defensive strategy. It was just we were going to continue attacking, but I just wanted that extra layer of defence back there. Camden were coming, they kept on pressing, they were closing the gap bit by bit with each break. We get to the last quarter, actually, was when we had the most defensive pressure. I actually had Tiana off the field at that point in time. We had one of our under 14 girls in Kira who had filled in her spot, and I could see her starting to tire. But because there was so much play up in that defensive end of the field, we couldn't actually make the interchange. Trying to get Kira off and get Tiana back on, who was refreshed and ready to go. I think we spent probably about 5-10 minutes trying to figure out how to make that change. So I didn't actually feel comfortable in that fourth quarter until probably the last 2 minutes, because Camden just kept on coming. The gap got closed to around about 12 points from memory. It was very nervous times and a lot of defensive pressure. It wasn't until those last 2 minutes that I started to think, I don't think they can get us from here. In the last 30 seconds of the game, we had Bell, who is actually our half forward, who was way back on the half-back line, take a mark. She took that mark and kicked the ball forward, but across field to Jess on the wing. And there was actually an infringement on the play. I can't remember if it was a high shot. There was some kind of infringement. Jess ended up getting a free kick. And Jess ended up sending the ball forward. There was a bit of contested possession there. And away came Ariana with the ball on her 50th game, and likely her last game, as she was going to look at hanging up the boots. And she ended up racing away. I think she had probably about 60, 70 metres to run towards goal. There's 1 bounce, 2 bounce. We're looking at the time, 10 seconds to go. She breaks through the last Camden defender. Looking at the time, literally 2 seconds to go, and we're all yelling out, kick the ball. And she managed to just get the ball onto her boot, literally a split second before that final siren sounded, registering the last score of the game. What a way to end the game. You couldn't actually write a better script for her on a 50th game as the captain, scoring the last goal of the game, of the grand final, right on the siren. And I remember I think I was almost in shock. I just stood back in the coach's box at that final siren. I actually couldn't believe that we'd achieved it. I thought the team could win the grand final, but when it actually happened, it was almost a sense of shock.
I was actually really excited. I don't actually remember a lot of it. I remember it went, for me, it went extremely slow. And once we heard that bell, everybody just ran to, the front. We took in the last bit of our energy just to get over there. That's all I really remember.
We really did. We were so, excited, the whole way running over there.
Yeah, we just, bolted, and then we just all got, in, a massive huddle. That. I think that was probably the best moment out of the whole season, is just being there, enjoying that excitement.
I definitely remember just feeling like how honoured I was to be able to play on such a great team, and not just a great team as in how well everyone's skills were with AFL, but all the girls were so encouraging the whole game and all the games. Do you know what I mean? So I felt so proud to be a part of that. Yep. I felt really honoured. So I felt super special that I was a part of that. I guess I'm overjoyed because a lot of the hard work and the nights that we were just there in the cold, freezing cold, and it just paid off in the end, because you'd get the weights out and I would be oh no, not this again, and then you'd be the plank. Oh, why are you doing this to me? And I remember sometimes I'm at school and my hands are just dead from the training that we had to do. It was just I'm enjoying when we won.
It was just such a relief, knowing we won. I remember running over with Bridget to Ariana, and we all just got in a hug, and it was just such a happy moment, knowing that we won on the, I don't know if it was that goal that made us win or not, but her just scoring that goal just made it so much better. And then all the other girls came running down, and we all just got in a big huddle. It was so good.
That's it. Absolutely.
It was just pure joy. Everyone was just so happy, and there was no one being salty. No one was left out. Everyone was just happy.
It was so surreal. Never would I have thought at the beginning of this season that we would have made it this far, winning a premier game. It was, I think I was definitely running on adrenaline from the end of the game. We'd come from so little and achieved this huge goal that, well, I know I'd been looking forward to the entire season, and knowing that we would be the first team to win a premiership, it just made it even more like exciting and surreal.
When you were receiving your premiership medals, Sienna, how'd you feel?
Yeah, that was pretty cool. like just bringing it up as well, like just getting like called up for it is like, I don't know, you just, it's like sense of accomplishment as well.
I didn't even hear my name. Honestly, I remember the exact like what happened. I was talking to Belle or Ariana, and like everyone was like calling at me. I was like, whoa, and they just pushed me out, and I was like, I had no idea what it was for. Like I was like, and then I got it, and I looked, and I was like, oh, wow, like that's
Cool.
That's so like I was so privileged. Like I didn't expect it at all. Like
But I remember just wanting to sit back and just enjoy watching the girls celebrate. That's what it was for me. I watched the grand final of the previous year versus Kellyville and Camden, the same Camden team that we'd just come up against. And when Kellyville had won that game and seeing the way they celebrated, I remember thinking, as the incoming coach, I remember thinking to myself, that's what I want. It's not really about winning the premiership. It was more about seeing those girls celebrate. You can't buy that kind of thing. You can't fake it. It's just pure raw emotion. I remember coming down relatively quickly after the game had finished. You know, I think the reason being that I'd had every intention of trying to be the kind of coach that would have some kind of major impact on those girls throughout the season. You know, be a major sort of part of their lives in a roundabout way with what I was delivering. And I actually hadn't taken into account how much a major part of my own life they had all become. And it actually dawned on me in the last couple of weeks of the season that that's what had happened. You know, I wasn't actually prepared for that. So, you know, seeing the grand final week coming and the end of the season coming, I actually wasn't ready for it all to end. But I also remember being just completely exhausted from the season. Everything that we'd gone through, it was emotionally exhausting. I'd gotten to that point where I didn't want it to end, but I needed it to end. I made the analogy that, you know, grand final week, it's like you're at the theme park and it's getting to the end of the day and you're getting really tired, but it's like, oh, just one more ride before I go home. That was grand final week for me. It was that one more ride. And what a ride it was.
There's a big, big sound from the west of the town. It's the sound of the mighty Giants. Feel the ground is shaking. The other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap. We're stronger than the rest. We're the greater Western Sydney Giants. We're the biggest and the best. And we will never surrender. We'll fight until the end. We're greater than the rest. sound of the mighty Giants. We feel the ground is shaking, the other teams are quaking in their boots before the Giants. We take the longest strides and the highest leap.